My name is Pauline Augusta Merriweather. I am 67 years old. I have lived a quiet, comfortable life. I raised my children. I buried my husband. I built a small fortune through careful investments and hard work. I thought I knew my family. I thought I understood my children. I was wrong. Let me tell you about the day my lawyer texted me those 4 words that changed everything. It was a Tuesday afternoon in early March. I was sitting in my garden, enjoying the first warm day of spring. The crocuses were blooming, birds were singing. Everything felt peaceful and right with the world. My phone buzzed with a text message. I picked it up and looked at the screen. The message was from Harold Livingston, my lawyer of over 30 years. A man I trusted completely. A man who had handled my husband's estate, my investments, my legal affairs for decades. The message was simple, just 4 words. Call me immediately, urgent. My heart skipped a beat. Harold was not the type to send urgent messages. He was calm, methodical, deliberate. In all the years I had known him, he had never once used the word urgent. Something was wrong. Something was very wrong. I dialed his number with trembling fingers. He answered on the first ring. Pauline, thank you for calling so quickly. Harold, what is it? What is wrong? There was a pause, a long, terrible pause that made my blood run cold. Pauline, I need you to sit down if you are not already sitting. I am sitting. Harold, please just tell me. Another pause. It is about your daughter, about Vivienne. Vivienne, my youngest child, my baby girl. She was 42 years old now, but she would always be my baby. What about Vivienne? Is she hurt? Is she sick? No, she is not hurt, but what I have to tell you, it is going to be very difficult to hear. Just tell me, Harold. Whatever it is, I can handle it. He took a deep breath. Pauline, I have uncovered evidence that Vivienne has been embezzling money from your accounts. A significant amount of money. Over the past 5 years, she has taken nearly $2 million. The world tilted. I grabbed the arm of my garden chair to steady myself. That is impossible. Vivienne does not have access to my accounts. She does. She had herself added as an authorized user 3 years ago. She forged your signature on the documents. She has been systematically draining your investment accounts ever since. No, there must be some mistake. Vivienne would never. There is more, Pauline. More? What more could there possibly be? The money she took, she did not spend it on herself, at least not all of it. Then where did it go? Harold's voice was heavy with something I could not quite identify. Pity, anger, fear. She gave it to someone. A man who has been manipulating her for years. A man who convinced her to steal from her own mother. Who is this man? His name is Gregory Ashworth. And Pauline, there is something you need to know about him. Something that will change everything you thought you knew about your family. What is it? Harold's voice dropped to almost a whisper. Gregory Ashworth is your husband's son. He is Vivienne's half-brother, and he has been planning this for decades. The phone slipped from my fingers. My husband's son, a child I never knew existed, a brother my daughter never knew she had. And together, they had stolen $2 million from me. But that was not the worst of it. That was not what shook me to my core. It was what Harold told me next. The real reason Gregory had come after my family. The secret my husband had kept buried for over 40 years. A secret that would destroy everything I thought I knew about my marriage, my family, and my life. Now, before I tell you more, I need to ask you something. Are you with me? Are you feeling the shock and confusion that I felt in that moment? If you are, I need you to do something for me right now. I need you to subscribe to this channel. Press that subscribe button. It is free, and it shows me that you want more stories like this. Stories about family secrets and betrayal. Stories about love and lies. Stories that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Also, press the like button. That thumbs up helps more people find this channel. It helps me reach others who need to hear this story. And do not forget the notification bell. That little bell icon is so important. When you turn it on, you will get a message every time I post a new story. You will never miss anything. One more thing. Drop a comment and tell me where you are watching from. Are you from California, Georgia, New Jersey? Maybe you are watching from Trinidad or the UK or Nigeria or somewhere else around the world. I want to know who is here with me. I want to build a family of strong people who support each other. Now, let me take you back to the beginning. Let me tell you about my husband, about my daughter, and about the cracks in our family that I should have seen but never did. I married Raymond Merriweather in 1980. I was 22 years old, fresh out of college, full of dreams and hopes for the future. Raymond was 28, already established in his career as a financial consultant. He was handsome, charming, successful, everything a young woman could want. We met at a charity gala. He walked across the room, introduced himself, and asked me to dance. By the end of the evening, I was in love. We got married 6 months later. A beautiful ceremony at my parents' church, 300 guests, a reception that lasted until dawn. Our early years were wonderful. Raymond's career flourished. We bought a beautiful home in the suburbs. We had 3 children, Marcus in 1983, Josephine in 1986, and Vivienne in 1988. Raymond was a good father, attentive, involved. He coached Little League, attended dance recitals, helped with homework. He was everything a husband and father should be. Or so I thought. Looking back now, I can see the signs I missed. Raymond traveled frequently for work, sometimes for days, sometimes for weeks. He always came back with gifts and stories and apologies for being away so long. But there were also late-night phone calls he would take in his office with the door closed. Credit card statements with charges I did not recognize. Unexplained absences on weekends when he said he was playing golf with colleagues. I noticed these things, but I never questioned them. I trusted Raymond completely. I believed in him with my whole heart. That trust was misplaced. Raymond died in 2015, after a brief battle with cancer. His death was sudden and devastating. 1 month he was healthy and active, the next he was bedridden. Within 3 months he was gone. I was shattered. 45 years of marriage ended in the blink of an eye. I did not know how to live without him. I did not know who I was anymore. My children rallied around me. Marcus, now a successful surgeon, flew in from Boston. Josephine, a lawyer in Chicago, took 2 weeks off work to stay with me. And Vivienne, my youngest, moved back home temporarily to help me through the darkest days. Together, we sorted through Raymond's affairs, his investments, his properties, his papers. And then Harold, my lawyer, called with the reading of the will. Raymond had been a wealthy man. His estate was worth over $10 million. He left most of it to me, with substantial trusts set up for each of the children. But there was something else in the will, something that confused me at the time, but that I did not question. A separate bequest, $200,000, left to the Ashworth Foundation. What is the Ashworth Foundation? I asked Harold. He looked uncomfortable. It appears to be a charitable organization. Raymond made regular donations to it over the years. I have never heard of it. Neither had I, but the donations are well documented. He has been contributing to this foundation for over 30 years. 30 years, almost the entire length of our marriage. I should have asked more questions, I should have investigated, but I was grieving, I was overwhelmed, I let it go. That was my mistake. After Raymond's death, life slowly returned to normal. Marcus went back to Boston. Josephine returned to Chicago, and Vivienne, after staying with me for 3 months, eventually moved into her own apartment across town. I settled into widowhood. I gardened. I volunteered at church. I had lunch with friends. I doted on my grandchildren when they visited. And I trusted my family to manage things I did not want to deal with. That was my second mistake. You see, Raymond had always handled our finances. He was the expert, after all, a financial consultant. He understood investments and markets and portfolios in ways I never could. After he died, I relied on Harold for the big decisions. But for the day-to-day management of my accounts, I turned to Vivienne. She had studied business in college. She worked in accounting before switching to a career in interior design. She understood numbers, and more importantly, I trusted her. I gave her access to my accounts so she could help me pay bills and manage expenses. I signed paperwork without reading it carefully. I assumed everything was fine. For 3 years, I was blissfully ignorant. And then Harold called. "Pauline, are you still there?" I picked up the phone from where I had dropped it in the grass. "I am here, Harold, but I do not understand. How is this possible? How could Vivienne?" "I discovered it by accident. I was reviewing your portfolio for the quarterly report, and I noticed some discrepancies. Transfers that did not make sense. Accounts that should have had more money than they did." "And you traced it back to Vivienne?" "Yes, the transfers went to an account in her name, and from there to an account belonging to Gregory Ashworth." "Gregory Ashworth, my husband's secret son." "Harold, how do you know this man is Raymond's son? Maybe he is just some con artist who—" "I wish that were true, Pauline, but I have done extensive research. Gregory Ashworth was born in 1978, 2 years before you and Raymond were married. His mother was a woman named Helena Ashworth. She and Raymond had an affair while he was engaged to you." The words hit me like physical blows. Raymond had cheated on me before we were even married. He had fathered a child with another woman. And he had kept it secret for 45 years. Did Raymond know about this child? Yes, the documents I found indicate that Raymond was aware of Gregory's existence from the very beginning. He paid child support, though he did it secretly, through shell companies and anonymous trusts. The Ashworth Foundation you asked about after the will reading, it was not a charity. It was a fund Raymond set up to support his son. 30 years of donations to a charitable foundation. Hundreds of thousands of dollars over the decades. My husband had been supporting his illegitimate child for our entire marriage. Why did he never tell me? I do not know, Pauline. Perhaps he was ashamed. Perhaps he was afraid of losing you. Perhaps he thought it was better to keep it hidden. And Gregory, did he know who his father was? He did. Helena told him when he was a teenager. And from what I have been able to piece together, Gregory has resented your family ever since. He believed he was denied his birthright. He believed he deserved more than the secret payments Raymond provided. So he targeted Vivienne to get revenge. It appears that way. Gregory approached Vivienne about 5 years ago. He claimed to be a distant relative, someone doing genealogy research. He gained her trust. He told her the truth about her father's affair. And then he convinced her that she had been cheated out of what was rightfully hers. Cheated? Vivienne received a substantial inheritance. She was well provided for. Gregory convinced her otherwise. He told her that Raymond had left the bulk of his wealth to you, that the children had been shortchanged. He manipulated her into believing that taking money from your accounts was just reclaiming what was already hers. And she believed him. She was vulnerable, Pauline. Her marriage had just ended. She was struggling financially. Gregory offered her validation, support, a sense of belonging. He told her she had a brother who understood her. He played on her emotions. I felt sick. My daughter, my baby girl, had been manipulated by a man claiming to be her brother. A man who was apparently her brother. A man who had used her to steal from her own mother. What do I do, Harold? How do I fix this? The first thing you need to do is confront Vivienne. Find out how deep this goes. Find out how much she knows about Gregory's real intentions. And if she refuses to talk to me, then we pursue legal action. What she has done is criminal, Pauline, embezzlement, fraud, forgery. She could go to prison. Prison, my daughter, my baby. There has to be another way. There may be, but first you need to talk to her. You need to understand what happened, and you need to find out where the money went. That evening, I called Vivienne. Mama, I was just thinking about you. How are you? Her voice was bright, cheerful, normal, as if she had not been stealing from me for years. I am fine, baby. I was wondering if you could come over tomorrow. I would like to talk to you about something. Of course, I can come by around noon. Is everything okay? Everything is fine, I miss you. I want to see my daughter. Aw, Mama, I miss you too. I will see you tomorrow. She hung up, and I sat in the darkness of my living room, staring at nothing. Tomorrow, I would confront my daughter. Tomorrow, I would demand the truth. But tonight, I grieved. For the husband who had betrayed me, for the daughter who had stolen from me, for the family I thought I had, now revealed to be built on lies. Vivienne arrived the next day at exactly noon. She looked beautiful, as always. My youngest daughter had inherited her father's charm and her grandmother's elegance. She was wearing a lovely spring dress and carrying a bouquet of flowers. For you, Mama, she said, kissing my cheek. I saw them at the market and thought of you. They are lovely, baby, thank you. We sat in the living room. I poured tea. We made small talk about the weather, about her work, about the grandchildren. And then, when I could not put it off any longer, I spoke. Vivienne, I need to ask you something, and I need you to be honest with me. She tilted her head, a confused smile on her face. Of course, Mama, what is it? Do you know a man named Gregory Ashworth? The change in her expression was immediate. The smile vanished. The color drained from her face. Her hands began to tremble. Where did you hear that name? Harold told me. He has been investigating some discrepancies in my accounts. Mama, I can explain. Then explain. Because right now, all I know is that you have taken nearly $2 million from me and given it to a man who claims to be your father's illegitimate son. Vivienne's eyes filled with tears. He is not just claiming, Mama. He is Daddy's son. He showed me the proof, birth certificates, letters, photographs. Daddy had an affair before he married you. Gregory is his child. I know, Harold told me. Then you understand. You understand why I did what I did. No, Vivienne, I do not understand at all. Gregory was cheated, Mama. Daddy kept him hidden his whole life. He never acknowledged him. He never gave him the Merriweather name. He just sent money and pretended Gregory did not exist. And that justifies stealing from me. I was not stealing. I was redistributing. Gregory deserved a share of Daddy's estate. He was Daddy's firstborn son. He should have inherited just like Marcus and Josephine and me. That was not your decision to make, Vivienne. That money was mine. Your father left it to me. Because Daddy felt guilty, he left everything to you because he was trying to make up for his lies. But that does not make it right. I stared at my daughter, seeing her clearly for the first time. She had been completely taken in by Gregory Ashworth. She believed she was doing the right thing. She believed she was righting an old wrong. But she was just a pawn in someone else's game. Vivienne, where is Gregory now? I need to speak with him. I do not know. He has been distant lately, ever since the last transfer. When was that? 3 weeks ago. I sent him the rest of what I could access. After that, he stopped answering my calls. 3 weeks ago, just before Harold discovered the discrepancies. Gregory had gotten what he wanted and disappeared. Vivienne, I think you have been used. I think Gregory manipulated you to get his hands on as much money as possible, and now that he has it, he is gone. No, you are wrong. Gregory loves me. He said we were family, he said. Her phone buzzed with a text message. She looked at the screen. Her face went white. What is it? I asked. What does it say? Vivienne handed me the phone with trembling hands. The message was from an unknown number. Thanks for everything, little sister. Enjoy explaining to the police why you embezzled $2 million. By the time you read this, I will be long gone. And so will the money. Consider it payment for 40 years of lies. G. Before I continue this story, kindly subscribe, like, turn on the notification bell, and tell me in the comments where you're watching from. Vivienne collapsed onto the couch, sobbing uncontrollably. The phone with Gregory's cruel message lay on the coffee table between us. The words glowed on the screen, mocking us both. Thanks for everything, little sister. Enjoy explaining to the police why you embezzled $2 million. My daughter had been used, manipulated, discarded like trash once she had served her purpose. Part of me was furious with her, furious that she had been so gullible, furious that she had stolen from me, furious that she had trusted a stranger over her own mother. But another part of me, the mother's part, wanted only to protect her, to fix this somehow, to make the pain go away. Vivienne, stop crying and listen to me. We need to think clearly. We need to figure out what to do. What is there to do, Mama? Gregory set me up. He has all the money, and he has probably left evidence everywhere pointing back to me. Then we find him. We track him down and we get the money back. How? He could be anywhere. He planned this for years. He is not going to be easy to find. She was right. Gregory Ashworth had been playing a long game. He had spent years gaining Vivienne's trust. He had carefully constructed a scheme that left her holding all the blame while he escaped with the fortune. This was not the work of an amateur. This was calculated, professional, almost surgical in its precision. Tell me everything, I said. From the beginning, how did you meet Gregory? What did he tell you? Every detail matters. Vivienne wiped her eyes and took a shaky breath. It was about 5 years ago. I was going through my divorce from Nathan. I was a mess, depressed, angry, feeling like my whole life was falling apart. I remember. You stayed with me for a few weeks during that time. Yes, and one day, while I was out getting coffee, a man approached me. He said his name was Gregory and that he was researching his family history. He said he had discovered he might be related to the Merriweather family. And you believed him. Not at first. I was suspicious, but he was so charming, so kind. He did not ask for anything. He just wanted to talk, to learn about our family, about Daddy. Vivienne's voice cracked. He told me his mother had died when he was young. He said he had grown up poor, bounced around foster homes, never knowing who his father was. Then, when he was 18, he found some old letters among his mother's things. Letters from Daddy. Letters? What kind of letters? Love letters. Letters promising to take care of her, to take care of their son. But also letters explaining why he could not leave you, why he had to keep Gregory a secret. I felt a wave of nausea. Raymond had written love letters to another woman, while married to me, while raising our children. He had been maintaining a secret relationship for who knows how long. Did you see these letters? Gregory showed them to me. They looked authentic. Daddy's handwriting, his signature, his way of expressing himself. They could have been forged. I thought about that, but Gregory also had photographs. Pictures of Daddy with his mother when they were young. Pictures of Daddy holding Gregory as a baby. Photographs, physical evidence that could not be easily dismissed. Why did you not tell me about this, Vivienne? Why did you keep it secret? Because Gregory asked me not to. He said he did not want to cause problems. He said he just wanted to know his family, even if only from a distance. And you trusted him. I did. He became my friend, Mama, my confidant. During the darkest time of my life, he was there for me. He listened. He understood. He made me feel less alone. I could see it now. Gregory had not targeted Vivienne by accident. He had waited for the perfect moment when she was vulnerable, isolated, desperate for connection, and then he had struck. When did the money start? Vivienne looked down at her hands. About 3 years ago. Gregory told me he was in trouble. He said he had debts he could not pay. He asked if I could help him just temporarily. And you gave him money. A little at first, from my own accounts. But then he asked for more. He said he was being threatened. He said people were going to hurt him if he did not pay. So you started taking from my accounts. I did not think of it as stealing, Mama. Gregory convinced me that the money was rightfully his. He said Daddy owed him. He said the family owed him. He made me believe we were just correcting an old injustice. $2 million, Vivienne. That is not correcting an injustice. That is robbery. I know that now. But at the time, I was so deep in it, I could not see clearly. Gregory had this way of making everything seem reasonable. Everything seemed justified. I sat back in my chair, trying to process everything I was hearing. My daughter had been systematically manipulated by a man claiming to be her half-brother. She had been convinced that stealing from me was an act of justice rather than a crime. And now Gregory was gone, along with $2 million of my money. But something did not add up. Something about this whole situation felt wrong. Vivienne, you said Gregory claimed he grew up poor, bounced around foster homes. But Harold told me that Raymond was paying child support through a foundation. Hundreds of thousands of dollars over the years. Where did that money go? Vivienne frowned. Gregory never mentioned any child support. He said Daddy abandoned him and his mother. He said they never received anything. That is not what the records show. Raymond was making regular payments to something called the Ashworth Foundation. Harold assumed it was to support Gregory. Then where did the money go, if Gregory never saw it? We looked at each other as the same realization dawned on both of us. Someone else had been intercepting Raymond's payments. Someone else had been keeping the money meant for Gregory. And if that was true, then maybe Gregory's resentment was not entirely manufactured. Maybe he really had been cheated. Not that it excused what he had done to us, but it complicated the picture. We need to find out more about this foundation, I said. We need to understand where Raymond's money actually went. How do we do that? We start with Harold. He has access to the records. He can trace the payments. I picked up my phone and dialed Harold's number. Harold came to my house that evening with a thick folder of documents. He spread them across my dining room table. Bank statements, foundation records, legal filings, a paper trail spanning over 3 decades. The Ashworth Foundation was established in 1982, he explained. 2 years after you and Raymond were married. The stated purpose was to provide educational opportunities for underprivileged youth. But it was really to support Gregory. That was my assumption, but when I dug deeper, I found something troubling. He pulled out a sheet of paper. The foundation's primary beneficiary was not Gregory Ashworth. It was the foundation's executive director, a woman named Helena Ashworth. Helena, Gregory's mother. So Raymond was sending money to Helena, not Gregory. It appears that way. Helena controlled the foundation's finances. She determined how the money was spent, and from what I can tell, very little of it actually went to support Gregory. Where did it go? Real estate, investments, personal expenses. Helena used the foundation as her personal piggy bank. She lived quite well on Raymond's guilt money. I felt a strange mix of emotions. Anger at Raymond for maintaining this secret relationship, disgust at Helena for exploiting it, and unexpected sympathy for Gregory, who had apparently been used by his own mother. When did Helena die? 15 years ago. Cancer. After her death, the foundation was dissolved, and its remaining assets were distributed to various charities. So Gregory received nothing when his mother died. Virtually nothing. The estate was modest. Most of Helena's wealth had been spent during her lifetime. Vivienne spoke up. That is what Gregory told me. He said his mother left him nothing. He said he had been abandoned by both parents. It appears that was true, Harold said. At least partially. Raymond abandoned him by keeping him secret, and Helena abandoned him by keeping all the money for herself. No wonder he was angry, I murmured. No wonder he wanted revenge. Revenge against the wrong people, Harold pointed out. You and Vivienne did not know about any of this. You were victims of Raymond's deception too. But we benefited from it, Vivienne said quietly. We had Daddy, we had the Merriweather name, we had the inheritance. Gregory had nothing. That does not justify what he did to you, Vivienne. He used you. He manipulated you. He made you into a criminal. I know, but I am starting to understand why. I looked at my daughter with new eyes. She was not making excuses for Gregory. She was trying to understand him, trying to make sense of the chaos he had brought into our lives. Understanding why he did it does not help us find him, I said, or recover the money. Harold nodded. I have hired a private investigator, a former FBI agent named Marcus Thompson. He specializes in financial crimes and missing persons. If anyone can find Gregory Ashworth, he can. How long will it take? It depends on how well Gregory covered his tracks. Could be days, could be weeks, but Thompson is good. He will find something. And in the meantime, we need to decide how to handle the legal situation. Harold looked at Vivienne. The money was taken from your mother's accounts using your authorization. Technically, you committed the crimes, even if you were manipulated into doing so. Vivienne's face went pale. Am I going to prison? That depends on several factors. If we can recover the money and demonstrate that you were a victim of fraud, the prosecutor might be willing to reduce or drop the charges. But if Gregory disappears with the money and we cannot prove his involvement, he did not need to finish the sentence. Vivienne would take all the blame. She would go to prison for crimes that Gregory had orchestrated. We are not going to let that happen, I said firmly. We are going to find Gregory, we are going to get the money back, and we are going to make sure the truth comes out. How, Mama? Gregory is gone. He has had weeks to disappear. He is not as smart as he thinks he is. He made one crucial mistake. What mistake? He underestimated us. He assumed we would fall apart when we discovered what he had done. He assumed Vivienne would be too ashamed to fight back. He assumed I would be too old and too weak to pursue him. I stood up, feeling a strength I had not felt in years. He was wrong. Gregory Ashworth picked the wrong family to target, and he is going to regret it. The next few days were a whirlwind of activity. Marcus Thompson, the private investigator, began his search for Gregory. He traced the wire transfers, examined Gregory's known addresses, interviewed anyone who might have information about his whereabouts. Meanwhile, I reached out to my other children. Marcus flew in from Boston immediately. My oldest son was a surgeon, calm and methodical, and his presence steadied all of us. Josephine drove down from Chicago, her lawyer's mind already working on legal strategies to protect Vivienne. We gathered in my living room, 4 Merriweathers united against a threat we had never anticipated. I still cannot believe Daddy had another child, Marcus said, shaking his head. All those years, and he never said a word. He lied to all of us, Josephine added. About everything, apparently. We can be angry at Daddy later, I said. Right now, we need to focus on finding Gregory and clearing Vivienne's name. Vivienne sat in the corner, quiet and withdrawn. The guilt was eating her alive. Every time she looked at me, I could see the shame in her eyes. Vivienne, stop punishing yourself, I told her. Yes, you made mistakes, but you were manipulated by someone who spent years gaining your trust. You are not the villain here. I stole from you, Mama. I took your money and gave it to a man who turned out to be a con artist. You were conned too. Gregory used your pain, your loneliness, your desire for connection. He exploited everything good in you and turned it against us. I should have known better. Maybe, but what is done is done. Now we move forward. Marcus Thompson called that evening with an update. I have found something, he said. Gregory Ashworth is not his real name. What do you mean? The man who called himself Gregory Ashworth was born Gordon Allen Mitchell. He legally changed his name 15 years ago, right after Helena Ashworth died. So he is not Raymond's son. Oh, he is definitely Helena's son. DNA would confirm that. But the name change suggests he was preparing for something, reinventing himself, building a new identity. Why would he do that? I am still digging, but I found something else interesting. Gordon Mitchell, or Gregory Ashworth, or whatever you want to call him, has a criminal record. What kind of record? Fraud, mostly. He has been convicted twice for running confidence schemes. He served 3 years in prison in the early 2000s for defrauding elderly women of their savings. Elderly women, just like me. He is a professional con artist. Exactly. This was not personal revenge. This was a calculated financial crime. He saw an opportunity, a wealthy family with a secret that could be exploited, and he took it. But he really is Raymond's son. Helena was really Raymond's mistress. Yes, the family connection is real, but Gregory's motives are purely financial. He does not care about justice or fairness. He just wanted the money. I thought about what Vivienne had told me, how Gregory had befriended her, comforted her, made her feel understood. It was all an act. Every kind word, every sympathetic gesture, all designed to manipulate her into becoming his accomplice. The cruelty of it took my breath away. Where is he now? Do you have any leads? He booked a flight to Mexico 3 weeks ago. One way, but he never got on the plane. So he is still in the country. Possibly, or he used a different identity to leave. I am checking other possibilities now. Keep looking, whatever it costs, find him. A week passed, then two. Thompson continued his investigation, following leads that sometimes went nowhere and sometimes revealed new pieces of the puzzle. We learned that Gregory had rented an apartment in our city for 5 years, the entire time he was cultivating Vivienne. It was modest, designed not to attract attention. The neighbors described him as quiet and polite, a nice man who kept to himself. We learned that Gregory had opened multiple bank accounts under various names, moving money through a maze of transfers that was difficult to trace. Thompson was slowly unraveling the web, but it was taking time. And we learned something else, something that changed everything. It came from an unexpected source, a woman named Rosemary Phillips, who contacted Harold after reading about our case in the newspaper. "I need to speak with Mrs. Merriweather," she said. "I have information about Gregory Ashworth, information she needs to know." Harold arranged a meeting at my house. Rosemary Phillips was a woman in her 60s, well-dressed and articulate. She arrived with a folder of documents and a story that made my blood run cold. "I was one of Gregory's victims," she explained. "7 years ago, he approached me the same way he approached your daughter. He claimed to be a distant relative. He gained my trust, and then he convinced me to give him access to my finances." "How much did he take?" "Nearly $1 million, my entire life savings." "I am so sorry." "I reported him to the police, but by the time they investigated, he had disappeared. The money was gone, and I was left with nothing." "Did they ever catch him?" "No, the case went cold. I thought I would never see justice." She opened her folder and pulled out a photograph. "But then I saw this in the newspaper. The man you are looking for, it is him, the same man who destroyed my life." I looked at the photograph. It was a picture of Gregory, younger, with different hair, but unmistakably the same man. "There is something else," Rosemary said. "Something the police discovered during their investigation." She pulled out another document. "Gregory has done this before, many times. He has a pattern. He targets wealthy families with secrets. He finds their vulnerabilities, and he exploits them." "How does he find these families?" "He has a source, someone who gives him information about potential targets, someone on the inside." "Inside where?" Rosemary looked at me with grim eyes. "Inside the legal profession. Gregory has a partner, someone who works at a law firm, someone who has access to wills, trusts, and estate documents, someone who identifies vulnerable families and passes the information to Gregory." "A lawyer." Gregory's partner was a lawyer. I felt a chill run down my spine. "Do you know who this person is?" "No, the police could never identify them, but they are out there. They have been working with Gregory for years, and they might be closer than you think." That night, after everyone had gone home, I sat alone in my living room. A lawyer. Gregory had a partner who was a lawyer, someone with access to legal documents, someone who could identify wealthy families with secrets. I thought about all the lawyers I knew, the lawyers who had handled Raymond's estate, the lawyers who managed my investments, the lawyers who knew my family's most intimate financial details. And then a terrible thought crept into my mind. Harold Livingston had been my lawyer for over 30 years. He had handled Raymond's will. He had known about the Ashworth Foundation. He had access to all my accounts. Harold was the one who had discovered the embezzlement. Harold was the one who had told me about Gregory. But what if that was all part of the plan? What if Harold had been working with Gregory all along? What if the man I trusted most was the one who had betrayed me? I picked up my phone and looked at Harold's number. Should I call him, confront him, or should I investigate quietly, gathering evidence before making accusations? Before I could decide, my phone buzzed with a new message. It was from an unknown number. Mrs. Merriweather, you are asking dangerous questions. Stop looking for Gregory. Stop investigating the lawyer connection. If you continue, you will not like what you find. Consider this a friendly warning. I stared at the message, my heart pounding. Someone knew what I was doing. Someone was watching me. And they wanted me to stop. Before I continue this story, kindly subscribe, like, turn on the notification bell, and tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I did not sleep that night. The threatening message glowed on my phone's screen, each word burning into my mind. Stop looking for Gregory. Stop investigating the lawyer connection. If you continue, you will not like what you find. Someone was watching me. Someone knew exactly what I was doing, and they wanted me to back off. But I was not going to back off. I had not survived 67 years by running away from threats. I had not raised 3 children, buried a husband, and built a life by being afraid. If anything, the message made me more determined to find the truth. The next morning, I called Marcus Thompson. I received a threatening text last night, I told him. Someone warning me to stop investigating. That is interesting, Thompson said. It means we are getting close to something. People do not send warnings unless they are scared. It mentioned the lawyer connection. Whoever sent it knows about Rosemary Phillips and what she told us. Which means they have been monitoring our investigation somehow, watching your communications, maybe even listening to your conversations. A chill ran down my spine. You think my phone is tapped? It is possible. These are sophisticated criminals, Mrs. Merriweather. They have resources. They plan ahead. What should I do? Get a new phone, a prepaid one that cannot be traced back to you. Use it for all sensitive communications. And be careful what you say in your house. It might be bugged too. The idea that someone might be listening to my private conversations was horrifying. My home, my sanctuary, violated by unknown enemies. There is something else, I said. I have been thinking about what Rosemary told us, about Gregory's partner being a lawyer. Yes. My lawyer, Harold Livingston, has access to all my financial information. He knew about the Ashworth Foundation. He knew about the payments Raymond was making. You think Harold might be the inside man? I do not want to think it. Harold has been my lawyer for 30 years. He was Raymond's friend. But he fits the profile. Yes, he does. Thompson was quiet for a moment. Let me do some digging. I will look into Harold's background, his finances, his connections. If he is involved with Gregory, there will be evidence somewhere. Please be discreet. If Harold is innocent, I do not want to destroy our relationship over unfounded suspicions. Understood. I will be careful. While Thompson investigated Harold, I focused on my family. We gathered at my house again, Marcus, Josephine, Vivienne, and me. I told them about the threatening message, about Rosemary Phillips's revelation, about my suspicions regarding Harold. Their reactions were mixed. Harold, Marcus was incredulous. Mama, that does not make any sense. Harold has been like family for decades. He was at my graduation. He came to my wedding. Why would he betray us? Money, Josephine said quietly. It is always about money. But Harold is wealthy himself. He has a successful practice. He does not need to steal from his clients. You do not know that for sure. People hide financial problems all the time. I cannot believe we are even having this conversation. Marcus shook his head. Harold is not a criminal. There has to be another explanation. Vivienne spoke up for the first time. Gregory mentioned something once, something I did not think about at the time. We all turned to look at her. What did he say? He said he had a friend who helped him find families like ours. He called this person his spotter. He said the spotter would identify targets and provide information. In exchange, they would get a percentage of whatever Gregory took. Did he say anything else about this spotter? Any details that might help identify them? Vivienne closed her eyes, trying to remember. He said the spotter was clever, very clever. He said they had been working together for over 10 years, and he said... She paused, her face troubled. He said the spotter was someone no one would ever suspect, someone who appeared completely trustworthy. Someone trustworthy, someone beyond suspicion. That described Harold perfectly. But it could also describe dozens of other people, other lawyers, other financial advisors, anyone with access to confidential information. We cannot jump to conclusions, I said. Thompson is investigating. We will know soon enough if Harold is involved. And if he is, Josephine asked. Then we deal with it, but until we have proof, we treat Harold normally. We do not let him know we suspect him. 2 days later, Thompson called with news. I found something, he said. Something significant. What is it? Harold Livingston has a gambling problem, a serious one. He has been in debt for years, hundreds of thousands of dollars owed to some very dangerous people. My heart sank. Are you sure? Positive. He has been borrowing from Peter to pay Paul for over a decade, remortgaging his house, taking out personal loans, running up credit card debt. He is drowning. But his practice is successful. How can he be in so much debt? Gambling addiction does not care about success. The more money he makes, the more he gambles. He has lost fortunes at casinos, at poker games, at horse tracks. It is a sickness. I thought about Harold, all those years of friendship, all those years of trust, and underneath it all, a secret addiction that was consuming him. Does this connect him to Gregory? Not directly, not yet, but it provides a motive. If Gregory offered Harold a percentage of the money he stole, that could be very appealing to a man drowning in debt. What do we do now? We need proof of the connection, bank transfers, communications, something that links Harold to Gregory directly. How do we get that? I have some ideas, but they involve risk. What kind of risk? We might need to confront Harold, pressure him into revealing what he knows. If he is desperate enough, he might make a mistake. Or he might warn Gregory, and they both disappear. That is the risk, but right now we are running out of options. Gregory has covered his tracks well. Harold might be our only way to find him. I thought about it carefully. Confronting Harold was dangerous, but so was doing nothing. Let me talk to my family, I said. We will decide together. That evening, we had a family meeting. I told them what Thompson had discovered about Harold's gambling addiction, about his massive debts, about the possibility that he had been working with Gregory all along. The reaction was somber. I cannot believe it, Marcus said. I really cannot believe Harold would do this to us. Addiction makes people do terrible things, Josephine said. It changes who they are. So what do? Vivienne asked. Do we confront him? That is what Thompson suggested. Pressure Harold into revealing what he knows about Gregory. Is that safe? Probably not, but it might be our best chance to find the money and clear Vivienne's name. We discussed it for over an hour, weighing the risks and benefits, arguing back and forth. Finally, we reached a decision. We would confront Harold, but we would do it carefully, strategically, with Thompson present to witness everything. And we would record the conversation, just in case Harold said something incriminating. The meeting was arranged for the following afternoon. I called Harold and asked him to come to my house to discuss some matters related to my estate. He agreed without hesitation. Of course, Pauline, I will be there at 2 o'clock. When he arrived, he found not just me, but Marcus, Josephine, Vivienne, and Thompson all waiting for him. His expression flickered with surprise, then concern. Pauline, what is this about? You did not mention we would have company. Sit down, Harold. We need to talk. He sat, his eyes darting from face to face, trying to read the room. Is something wrong? Yes, Harold, something is very wrong, and I think you know what it is. I'm afraid I do not understand. I leaned forward. Tell me about your gambling, Harold. Tell me about the hundreds of thousands of dollars you owe. The color drained from his face. Who told you about that? It does not matter who told me. What matters is that you have been keeping secrets. Big secrets. From me, from everyone. Pauline, my personal finances are not relevant to. They are relevant when you are stealing from your clients to pay your debts. Harold flinched as if I had slapped him. I have never stolen from you, Pauline. Never. I would never do that. Then explain Gregory Ashworth. Explain how he knew exactly which family to target. Explain how he knew about Raymond's secret son, about the Ashworth Foundation, about everything. I do not know how he knew those things. I assumed he found out from Helena before she died. Helena died 15 years ago. Gregory approached Vivienne 5 years ago. That is a decade of planning, Harold. A decade of patience. Someone was feeding him information. Someone with access to my family's most private documents. Harold shook his head vigorously. It was not me. I swear to you, Pauline, it was not me. Then who? Who else had access? Who else knew about Raymond's payments to the foundation? I do not know. I have been racking my brain since this whole thing started. I have been trying to figure out how Gregory knew what he knew. And you expect me to believe you came up with nothing? Harold stopped. Something changed in his expression, a flicker of realization, or perhaps recognition. What is it, Harold? What are you thinking? There was someone else, he said slowly. Someone who had access to Raymond's files before I did. Who? My former partner, a man named Vincent Thorne. He handled Raymond's affairs in the early years before I took over. Vincent Thorne. I do not remember that name. You would not. He left the firm before you and Raymond became my clients. There was a disagreement. He went his own way. What kind of disagreement? Harold shifted uncomfortably. There were irregularities in some client accounts. Nothing was ever proven, but I suspected Vincent of skimming money. I confronted him, and he left the firm rather than face an investigation. And you never reported this. I had no proof, and I did not want to destroy a man's career over suspicions. So you let a potential thief walk away, and now you are telling me he might be connected to Gregory. I do not know for certain, but Vincent would have had access to Raymond's early files. He would have known about Helena, about the foundation, about the payments. Thompson spoke up for the first time. Mr. Livingston, do you know where Vincent Thorne is now? No, we lost touch decades ago. I have no idea what happened to him. I will find him, Thompson said. If he is connected to Gregory, I will find the evidence. After Harold left, we sat in stunned silence. Do you believe him? Marcus asked. About this Vincent Thorne person. I do not know, I admitted. He seemed genuinely surprised when the idea occurred to him, but Harold is a lawyer. He knows how to be convincing. We should investigate both of them, Josephine suggested. Harold and Vincent cover all our bases. Agreed. Thompson, can you handle that? Already on it, he said. Give me 48 hours. Those 48 hours felt like an eternity. I could not eat. I could not sleep. I wandered through my house like a ghost, replaying every conversation, every interaction, every moment that might have been a clue. Had Harold been lying to me for years? Had he been the one feeding information to Gregory? Or was Vincent Thorne the real culprit? And where was Gregory now? Where had he taken my money? On the second day, Thompson called. I found Vincent Thorne, he said, and you are not going to believe what I discovered. Tell me. Vincent Thorne died 12 years ago. Heart attack. He could not have been feeding information to Gregory. So Harold was lying. Not necessarily. Vincent may have passed information to someone else before he died, or there may be another explanation entirely. What do you mean? I kept digging. I looked into Vincent's family, his associates, his connections. He paused. Vincent Thorne had a son who followed in his father's footsteps and became a lawyer. Who is this son? His name is Daniel Thorne. He practices estate law in the city, and guess whose firm he works for? My blood ran cold. Harold's firm. That is right. Daniel Thorne has been an associate at Harold's firm for 8 years. He has access to all client files, all financial records, everything. Daniel Thorne, the son of a suspected thief, working at the same firm that handled my family's affairs. Does Harold know about Daniel's father? I do not know. Harold said he and Vincent lost touch decades ago. He might not even know Vincent had a son. Or he might be protecting Daniel. That is possible, too. Either way, we have a new suspect. What do we do now? We investigate Daniel Thorne. We find out if he has any connection to Gregory Ashworth, and we do it quietly, before anyone realizes we are looking. Thompson went to work on Daniel Thorne. Within days, he had uncovered a web of connections that confirmed our worst suspicions. Daniel Thorne and Gregory Ashworth had gone to the same college. They had been roommates for 2 years. They had maintained contact ever since, meeting regularly at a downtown bar. And there was more. Daniel had been accessing client files he had no legitimate reason to see. Files belonging to wealthy families with complicated estates. Families with secrets that could be exploited. Families just like mine. Daniel is the spotter, Thompson concluded. He identifies targets, provides information to Gregory, and takes a cut of the proceeds. And Harold? I do not think Harold is directly involved, but he has been negligent. He trusted Daniel with access he should not have had. He failed to supervise. He let this happen under his nose. That is still a betrayal, I said, even if it was unintentional. Yes, it is. Armed with this information, we went to the police. The detective assigned to our case was a woman named Sergeant Patricia Monroe. She was sharp, experienced, and immediately interested in what we had discovered. Daniel Thorne and Gregory Ashworth, she said, studying the evidence Thompson had compiled. This is good, very good. Can you arrest them? Not yet. We need more evidence to make charges stick. But we can bring Daniel in for questioning, put pressure on him, see if he cracks. And Gregory. If Daniel knows where Gregory is hiding, we will find out. She looked at me with serious eyes. Mrs. Merriweather, I want you to know that we take this case very seriously. Financial exploitation of the elderly is a priority for our department. We will do everything we can to recover your money and bring these men to justice. Thank you, Sergeant. That means more than you know. Daniel Thorne was brought in for questioning the next day. He denied everything at first. He had no idea what they were talking about. He had never heard of Gregory Ashworth. He had never accessed client files improperly. But Sergeant Monroe was relentless. She showed him the evidence, the college records, the bar receipts, the pattern of file access that coincided with Gregory's schemes. Hour by hour, Daniel's denials became weaker. His confidence crumbled. His lies fell apart. Finally, after 12 hours of interrogation, he broke. "All right," he shouted. "All right, I will tell you everything." He confessed to everything. The partnership with Gregory, the years of identifying targets, the percentage he received from each successful scheme. And he revealed something else, something that made Sergeant Monroe call me immediately. "Mrs. Merriweather, we know where Gregory is." "Where?" "He never left the country. He has been hiding in plain sight about 2 hours from here. He rented a house under a fake name. He has been living there for the past month." "And my money?" "Still in various accounts, from what Daniel says. Gregory has not had time to move it all yet. If we act fast, we can recover most of it." "Then act fast, please." "We are mobilizing a team right now. By this time tomorrow, Gregory Ashworth will be in custody." I should have felt relieved. I should have felt vindicated. But something was wrong. Something did not add up. Daniel had broken too easily. He had given up Gregory too quickly, almost as if he wanted us to find him. I called Thompson and shared my concerns. You think it is a trap? I think something is not right. Daniel and Gregory have been partners for over a decade. Why would Daniel give him up after just 12 hours of questioning? Maybe he was scared. Maybe he wanted to make a deal. Maybe, but Gregory is smart. He would have planned for this possibility. He would have a contingency. What are you suggesting? I am suggesting we be careful, very careful. Gregory has been one step ahead of us this entire time. I do not think he would suddenly become easy to catch. Thompson was quiet for a moment. You might be right. Let me make some calls, see if I can find out anything else. Please hurry. The police are moving in tomorrow. That night, I could not sleep. I paced through my house, checking windows, looking at shadows, jumping at every sound. And then, just after midnight, my phone buzzed. A text message from an unknown number. Hello, Mother. Yes, I said, Mother. Did you really think your husband only had one secret? The police are walking into a trap, and so are you. Sweet dreams. I stared at the message, my heart pounding. Mother, Gregory had called me Mother. But that was impossible. Gregory was Helena's son. He was Raymond's illegitimate child. He was not my son. Was he? Before I continue this story, kindly subscribe, like, turn on the notification bell, and tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I stared at my phone, my hands trembling so violently I could barely hold it. Hello, Mother. Yes, I said, Mother. Mother, Gregory had called me Mother. The word echoed in my mind, refusing to make sense. Gregory was Helena's son. He was Raymond's child from an affair. He had no connection to me. Unless... No, it was impossible. I would know if I had given birth to a child. I would remember. But even as I tried to dismiss the idea, memories began to surface. Memories I had buried so deep I had almost forgotten they existed. The summer of 1977, the year before I met Raymond, the year I had tried so hard to forget. I was 20 years old, young, naive, desperately in love with a man named Thomas Ashworth. Thomas was older than me, sophisticated, charming. He swept me off my feet with promises of love and marriage. He said he would take care of me forever. And then I got pregnant. When I told Thomas, everything changed. His charm disappeared. His love evaporated. He told me he was already married. He told me the pregnancy was my problem, not his. He gave me money and told me to take care of it. I was devastated, alone, terrified. My family was deeply religious. An unmarried pregnancy would have destroyed them, destroyed me. I would have been cast out, shunned, ruined. So I made a decision, the hardest decision of my life. I went to a home for unwed mothers in another state. I stayed there for 6 months, hidden from everyone I knew. And when the baby was born, I gave him up for adoption. I never held him. I never saw his face. I signed the papers and walked away, trying to pretend it never happened. And then 2 years later, I met Raymond. I fell in love. I got married. I had 3 beautiful children. And I never told anyone about the baby I had given away. I sank into a chair, my mind reeling. Gregory Ashworth, Thomas Ashworth. The same last name. It could not be a coincidence. Was Gregory the baby I had given up? Had he somehow found out about me? Had he come back to punish me for abandoning him? But that did not make sense either. Gregory had claimed to be Raymond's son. He had shown Vivienne proof, letters, photographs, evidence of Raymond's affair with Helena. Unless that evidence was fabricated, unless the whole story about Raymond and Helena was a lie designed to hide the truth that Gregory was not Raymond's son. He was mine. I called Thompson immediately, not caring that it was the middle of the night. We need to stop the police operation, I said. Gregory is not who we think he is. What are you talking about? I just received a message from Gregory. He called me Mother, and I think he might actually be my son. There was a long pause. Your son, Mrs. Merriweather, are you sure? No, I am not sure of anything. But before I met Raymond, I had a child. A child I gave up for adoption. I never knew what happened to him. And you think that child might be Gregory? The timing fits. The last name Ashworth is the same as his biological father. It cannot be a coincidence. Even if that is true, what does it change? Gregory still stole your money. He still manipulated your daughter. He still committed crimes. I know, but if he is my son, if I abandoned him, maybe that is why he targeted me. Maybe this is personal in a way we did not understand. That does not excuse what he has done. No, it does not, but it might explain it. Thompson sighed heavily. All right, I will contact Sergeant Monroe and share this information. But Mrs. Merriweather, the operation is already in motion. They may not be able to stop it. Just try, please. Something is wrong here. Gregory said the police are walking into a trap. A trap? What kind of trap? I do not know, but he warned me. He said sweet dreams like he was enjoying this, like it was all part of his plan. I will call Monroe right now. Stay by your phone. The next hour was agony. I sat in my living room, staring at my phone, waiting for news. My children were asleep upstairs, unaware of the drama unfolding. At 2:47 a.m., Thompson called back. I reached Monroe. The operation is proceeding. They are confident they can handle whatever Gregory has planned. Did you tell her about my concerns? About the trap? I did. She is taking extra precautions. But Mrs. Merriweather, they have surrounded the house. Gregory is not going anywhere. I hope you are right. Try to get some rest. I will call you as soon as I know something. Rest? As if I could rest while my long-lost son was being arrested for stealing my money. As if I could sleep while my entire understanding of my life crumbled around me. At 5:30 a.m., my phone rang again. It was Sergeant Monroe. Mrs. Merriweather, we have Gregory Ashworth in custody. I let out a breath. I did not know I had been holding. Was anyone hurt? Was there a trap? The house was rigged with some security measures, cameras, motion sensors, that kind of thing, but nothing dangerous. Gregory surrendered without resistance. And the money. We have secured his computers and financial records. Our forensic accountants are already working to trace the funds. It will take time, but we are optimistic about recovering most of what was stolen. Thank you, Sergeant. Thank you so much. There is one more thing, Mrs. Merriweather. Gregory is asking to see you. To see me? Yes. He says he will not speak to anyone until he talks to you first. He says you owe him that much. I closed my eyes. This was the moment I had been dreading. The confrontation I had been avoiding for 45 years. All right, I said. I will come. I arrived at the police station just after 8 a.m. Sergeant Monroe met me at the entrance and led me to an interview room. Through the glass, I could see Gregory sitting at a table, his hands cuffed in front of him. He looked different than I had expected, older, tired. There were lines on his face that spoke of a hard life. His eyes, when they met mine through the glass, were filled with a complex mixture of emotions: anger, pain, and something that might have been hope. Are you sure you want to do this? Monroe asked. You do not have to. Yes, I do. I need to understand. She nodded and opened the door. I walked into the room and sat across from the man who might be my son. For a long moment, neither of us spoke. Then Gregory smiled. It was not a warm smile. It was bitter, mocking. Hello, Mother. It took you long enough. How do you know? How do I know you are my mother? I have known for years. I found my original birth certificate when I was 18. Your name was right there. Pauline Augusta Worthington. Worthington, my maiden name. The name I had used at the home for unwed mothers. I did not know what happened to you, I said. They took you away before I could even see your face. They gave me to Helena. She and my father, Thomas, could not have children of their own, so they adopted me. The bastard child Thomas never wanted to acknowledge. Thomas adopted you. Ironic, is it not? He paid you to disappear, and then he took me in anyway. Helena wanted a baby so desperately she did not care where it came from. But she told you Raymond was your father. She showed you letters and photographs. She told me what I needed to hear to do what needed to be done. Gregory's voice hardened. Helena was not a good woman, Mother. She raised me on bitterness and resentment. She told me stories about how Thomas had abandoned his real family, you and me, for wealth and status. She told me we deserved revenge. And Raymond, where does he fit into this? Raymond was Thomas's business partner, best friends since college. When Thomas died, Raymond felt guilty. He started the Ashworth Foundation to assuage his conscience. He never knew I existed. He thought he was honoring his dead friend. So the money Raymond sent to the foundation went to Helena. She used it to fund her lifestyle and her schemes. And when she died, I inherited her hatred, her plans, her desire for revenge against everyone who had wronged her. I shook my head, trying to understand. But why target me? I did not wrong you. I was a victim too. Thomas abandoned both of us. You gave me away. Gregory's voice cracked with emotion. You had a choice, and you chose to throw me away like garbage. I was 20 years old. I was alone, scared, with no support. I did what I thought was best for both of us. Best for you, maybe, but not for me. Do you have any idea what my life was like? Growing up in Helena's shadow, being reminded every day that I was unwanted, watching from afar while you built a perfect life with your perfect family. My life was not perfect, Gregory. I carried the guilt of giving you up every single day. Not a week went by when I did not think about you, wonder where you were, pray that you were happy. Prayers do not feed a hungry child. Prayers do not comfort a boy who wonders why his mother did not love him enough to keep him. Tears were streaming down my face now. I did love you. I have always loved you. I just did not know how to keep you. Then why did you never look for me? In 45 years, you never once tried to find me. I was afraid of what I would find, afraid you would hate me, afraid of destroying the life I had built, afraid of facing the truth. Yes, afraid of facing the truth. Gregory stared at me, his expression slowly changing. The anger was still there, but something else was emerging, something softer, something almost vulnerable. I did not want it to be this way, he said quietly. When I first found you, I just wanted to meet you, to talk to you, to understand why you gave me up. Then why did you not approach me directly? Why all the schemes and lies? Because I was angry. Because Helena had spent years filling my head with poison. Because by the time I found you, I did not know how to be anything other than what she had made me. A thief, a con artist. A survivor. That is what I am, Mother. A survivor of your abandonment. A survivor of Helena's manipulation. A survivor of a world that never wanted me. I reached across the table and took his cuffed hands in mine. I am so sorry, Gregory. I am so sorry for everything you have been through. If I could go back and change things, I would. But I cannot. All I can do is offer you the truth now. What truth? The truth that I have thought about you every single day. The truth that giving you up was the hardest thing I have ever done. The truth that I never stopped being your mother, even when I tried to pretend you did not exist. Gregory's eyes filled with tears. For a moment, the hardened con artist disappeared, and I saw the lost, wounded child underneath. It is too late, he whispered. It is too late for any of this to matter. It is not too late. It is never too late. I stole from you, Mother. I manipulated your daughter. I committed crimes that I will spend years in prison for. Yes, you did, and you will have to face the consequences for that. But that does not mean we cannot find a way forward. That does not mean we cannot try to heal. You would do that, after everything. You are my son, my firstborn. No matter what you have done, that will never change. The conversation lasted for 3 hours. Gregory told me about his life, about growing up with Helena, about discovering his true origins, about the years of anger and resentment that had led him to target my family. He told me about Vivienne, how he had genuinely come to care for her, even as he was using her, how he had struggled with guilt even as he continued the scheme. And he told me about Daniel Thorne, how they had met in college and discovered a shared talent for manipulation, how they had built their partnership over years of successful cons. By the end, I understood Gregory better than I ever had. I did not excuse what he had done, but I understood why. "What happens now?" he asked as I prepared to leave. "Now you face the legal consequences, but I will be there. At your trial, through your sentence, I will not abandon you again." "Why? Why would you do that after everything?" "Because that is what mothers do. They love their children, even when those children make terrible mistakes. They stand by them, even when the world turns against them." Gregory looked at me with wonder in his eyes, as if he could not quite believe what he was hearing. "I do not deserve your forgiveness." "Maybe not, but you have it anyway." The months that followed were complicated and painful. Gregory pleaded guilty to all charges. With my testimony about his background and circumstances, and with his cooperation in recovering the stolen funds, his sentence was reduced. He received 8 years in prison, with the possibility of parole after 5. Most of my money was recovered. Not all of it, but enough. Enough to maintain my lifestyle, enough to provide for my children and grandchildren. Vivienne was cleared of all charges. The evidence clearly showed she had been manipulated by Gregory and Daniel. She was a victim, not a criminal. Daniel Thorne received 12 years for his role in the schemes. He had been the mastermind behind the target selection, and he had no sympathetic backstory to soften his sentence. And Harold retired from law. His gambling addiction was exposed during the investigation, and while he was not criminally liable, his reputation was destroyed. He checked himself into a treatment program and has been sober for 6 months now. We are slowly rebuilding our friendship, though it will never be the same. 1 year after Gregory's arrest, I visited him in prison. We sat across from each other in the visiting room, a far cry from the police interrogation room where we had first spoken. "How are you?" I asked. "Better. I am in therapy, working through the anger, trying to understand why I became the person I became." "That is good. That is progress." "I have been thinking about what you said, about it never being too late. I did not believe you at the time, but now. Now I think maybe you were right. Maybe it is not too late. Maybe I can still become someone worth being." I reached across the table and took his hand. "You already are, Gregory. You always were. You just got lost along the way." "Because of Helena." "Because of a lot of things. Helena, Thomas, me, a system that failed you, a world that was not kind to you." "That sounds like excuses." "No, those are explanations. There is a difference. An excuse says you are not responsible. An explanation says you are responsible, but there are reasons why you made the choices you made." Gregory nodded slowly. "I want to meet them. My siblings, Vivienne and the others. I know I hurt them. I know they probably hate me, but I want them to know I am sorry. Give it time. Healing takes time, but I believe eventually they will be ready." "And you, can you really forgive me, after everything?" I thought about that question. I thought about all the pain Gregory had caused, the money he had stolen, the trust he had broken, the daughter he had manipulated. But I also thought about the baby I had given away, the child I had abandoned, the years of suffering that had shaped him into the man he became. "Forgiveness is not about forgetting," I said. "It is not about pretending the hurt did not happen. It is about choosing to move forward despite the pain. It is about giving both of us the chance to heal." Is that a yes? "That is a yes, Gregory. I forgive you. And I hope in time you can forgive me too." He squeezed my hand. "I am trying, Mother. I am really trying." 2 years later, Gregory was released on parole. He had served his time, participated in every program, demonstrated genuine remorse. The parole board believed he was ready to rejoin society. I was there on the day he walked out of prison. So were my other children, Marcus, Josephine, and Vivienne. They had come reluctantly at first, still harboring anger and resentment. But over the 2 years of Gregory's imprisonment, I had worked to bridge the gap, to help them understand, to prepare them for this moment. Gregory emerged from the gates, blinking in the sunlight. When he saw us all waiting for him, his face crumpled with emotion. "You came," he whispered. "You all came." "We are family," I said simply. "That is what families do." It was awkward at first, stilted. The wounds were still fresh, the trust still fragile. But it was a beginning. Today, 5 years after that terrible phone call from Harold, my family is whole again. Gregory works as a counselor for at-risk youth, using his own story to help kids avoid the path he took. He lives in a small apartment across town, and he comes to dinner every Sunday. Vivienne has rebuilt her life. She remarried last year, a kind man named Robert who knows her whole story and loves her anyway. She and Gregory have developed an unexpected bond, united by their shared experience of manipulation and recovery. Marcus and Josephine have accepted Gregory, though their relationship is still distant. They are cordial at family gatherings, polite in conversations. Maybe in time they will grow closer, maybe not, but at least they are trying. And me, I have found peace. The secret I carried for 45 years is finally out in the open. The son I abandoned has been found. The wounds I caused have begun to heal. I will not pretend it was easy. It was the hardest journey of my life. There were days when I wanted to give up, days when the pain seemed too great to bear. But I kept going. I kept fighting. I kept believing that redemption was possible. Because that is what mothers do. If you are watching this story, I want you to understand something important. Secrets have power. They can fester for decades, poisoning everything they touch. They can drive people to terrible acts of revenge. They can destroy families and shatter lives. But the truth has power too. The truth can heal. The truth can reconcile. The truth can set us free. When my lawyer texted me those 4 words, "Call me immediately, urgent," I had no idea what was coming. I did not know that a single phone call would unravel my entire life. But I am grateful for that call. Grateful for the painful journey it set in motion. Grateful for the son I recovered and the family I rebuilt. Because sometimes the most shocking revelations lead to the deepest healing. Sometimes the worst moments of our lives become the doorways to our greatest transformations. My lawyer's text shook me to my core. What he told me about my daughter changed everything. But what I discovered about myself, about my own buried secrets, my own need for forgiveness, that changed me even more. Thank you for watching until the end. Thank you for being here with me. Thank you for listening to my story. If this story touched your heart, please subscribe to this channel. Press that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new story. Press the like button, share this video with someone who needs to hear it, and drop a comment telling me where you are watching from. I want to know who is here with me. I want to see how big our family can grow. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Love your families, even when they are complicated. Face your secrets, even when they are painful. And never stop believing that redemption is possible. Because it is, for all of us.